Could Donte DiVincenzo be signing with the New York Knicks in NBA free agency? We're going to break it down on today's show. You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. There's been a lot of smoke around Donte DiVincenzo and the Knicks. Bill Simmons, on his podcast earlier this week, he predicted that the New York Knicks and Leon Rose would sign DiVincenzo once free agency opens to a 3-year, $30 million contract. So Bill Simmons is predicting that DiVincenzo will be a New York Knick. And the rumors have been circulating around the Big Ragu for quite some time. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We're going to break that down in today's show. I'll give you my thoughts if I think it's a good fit, and we'll explain why I do believe DiVincenzo is a viable free agent target and mid-level exception target for the Knicks. Remember last week, SNY and Ian Begley, they reported that there were influential Knicks front office members that were fans of the idea of adding DiVincenzo in NBA free agency. The Knicks at the moment, and we'll talk about the mid-level exception here in a second, could offer DiVincenzo a pretty solid deal. But I want to go back to what Bill Simmons had to say and why he thinks DiVincenzo with the Knicks makes some sense. He said, the reason I thought him to the Knicks is they don't have a lot of fun to play with swingman guys. I like some of the stuff he did with the Warriors, talking about DiVincenzo. I mean, in the closeout game when they lost to the Lakers, he was one of the most confident players they had out there. I value what he does. And we'll break down exactly what Donte brings to the game and what the Knicks could be expecting if they do sign him. But this all circles back to the Villanova connection. Josh Hart, why is he so important in the DiVincenzo really saga right now? Because Josh Hart, remember, he had that player option deadline last week. It was extended until this Thursday. He and the Knicks work together. Why? Because the Knicks are run by CAA, and Josh Hart is repped by CAA. Who else is also repped by CAA? That is Donte DiVincenzo. Josh Hart opting into his player option at $12.9 million would give the Knicks the full use of the non-taxpayer mid-level exception without dipping their toe into the luxury tax. And there's rumors that the Knicks don't want to enter the luxury tax. So if Hart opts in, they can extend him at 140% of his deal, which comes out to about 4 years, 78, or 5 years, about $80 million after you add it all together. So Hart is still going to get his money. He's going to get guaranteed money this year and for the next 4 years. And he's probably thinking that if I opt in, the Knicks are going to offer DiVincenzo a good amount of money. He's going to come. I would not doubt that DiVincenzo, Josh Hart have talked, and maybe those talks have been talked about with the CAA Mafia. We're going to break it down some more, but I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Should the Knicks sign the former Villanova guard Donte DiVincenzo? Let me know what you think. Type S for sign, type P for pass. Let me know what you're thinking down below. And remember, guys, free agency does start this Friday, and we're going to be live here on the channel, Knicks Now by Chat Sports. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Send the link, youtube.com/KnicksTV, and let them know that we are going to be live for NBA free agency. We'll be live for day 1, potentially day 2, maybe even day 3 if the audience is awesome. So subscribe and turn your notifications on, and we'll see you then. With the rumors swirling around DiVincenzo and the New York Knicks, and it sounds like there might, be some traction there, I want to talk about why I believe DiVincenzo, the person and the player, makes sense for the New York Knicks. Number one, I wish there was something to talk about the actual on-the-court production from DiVincenzo, which we'll get to in a second, but he is repped by CAA. Shout out to Leon Rose. Remember this, Donte DiVincenzo turned down a contract of a player option this upcoming summer for $4.5 million. He wouldn't turn down that deal unless that he knew and his agent knew that there was guaranteed more money out there in NBA free agency. I wonder if that agent spoke to the New York Knicks about that price point. CAA Mafia, it continues to live on. And if you're repped by them, you're definitely going to be a person of interest for the New York Knicks. Also, where did he go to college? With Jalen, Brunson, and Josh Hart. He is a Villanova player through and through. And not only did he just wear the Villanova jersey, play there, win a national championship, ball out in that game, he embodies what it means to be a Villanova player. He's scrappy. He plays hard, high basketball IQ. He brings a winning style of play to the hardwood. just like his college teammates, Jalen, Brunson, and Josh Hart. I believe Josh Hart is a very similar player to DiVincenzo. He's going to be a fan favorite if he is a New York Knick, and he's a better shooter from outside than Josh Hart is. He has more of those guard skills. While I do actually still call DiVincenzo a wing, he does have more guard skills than Josh Hart, who is a wing at this point in his career. Speaking of DiVincenzo, his ability to knock down that three-point shot is probably the main reason the Knicks are interested. 39.7% from three for DiVincenzo last year on almost 6 attempts per night. Good volume there and great efficiency. The Knicks have to become a better outside shooting team. We saw against the Miami Heat, they were not able to make those open shots, and because of it, they ended up losing in 6 games and were not able to advance to the conference finals. Knicks got to get better from here. Another spot of the game that I love for Donte DiVincenzo is that he is a great catch-and-shoot player. And with Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle both being inside the top 15 of basketball players that were double-teamed this past year, you need somebody to hit open shots, and DiVincenzo, he does it with the best of them. 42.4% for DiVincenzo on catch-and-shoot threes this past year for the Golden State Warriors, and he did it in the playoffs as well. 37.8% on those threes for DiVincenzo in the 11 games that were recorded in the NBA tracking stats. So he did it in the playoffs, and he did it in the regular season. Playing with the Warriors this year was definitely his best year in the NBA. Played in 72 games. It was the most healthy he has ever been and most productive on top of that. He gave you 9.4 points per game, 3.5 assists, over a steal per night. He is a good, gritty defender. He can't guard every position, but he can guard 1 through 2. He can guard guards, and he can even guard some wings. I like his ability to play as an off-ball defender as well. I think he plays the passing lanes really well, and he had his most efficient year, 43.5% from the field, and we talked about it, 39% from three. It's the other years that just are concerning with DiVincenzo. You looked at, but before this year, really in the last 2 seasons, he was pretty bad, to be honest with you. 36% from the field and 33% from the field. That rookie year was his second best year in the NBA, 42% from the field and 33% from three, but he was able in 2020 to knock down 38% of those shots. What I love about DiVincenzo is he's really had a 1.5 year production of elite three-point shooting. He played in 25 games last year for the Kings after he was traded for the Bucks, and he knocked down the three at a 37% clip on 6 per night. So it's really been a 1.5 years of really good shooting for DiVincenzo. Overall, CAA client, Villanova players, there's connections in the building. It's not, and if Jalen Brunson wants someone to be a Knick, you got to listen at this point, because it's Jalen Brunson, the captain, the face of this organization. Josh Hart, Rick Brunson. Sounds like Leon Rose is a fan of these guys as well. Will not be shocked if he's the first player the Knicks signed in free agency. What's the role for DiVincenzo going to be with the New York Knicks, though? Definitely coming off the bench. I've heard a lot of people complain, we don't have any minutes for him. We already have too many guards. Outside of Jalen Brunson and Quentin Grimes in your starting lineup, you only have one guard that is a good above average basketball player in the NBA, Emmanuel Quickley, who played really well in the regular season, struggled in the postseason. Do we want Miles McBride playing more minutes than Donte DiVincenzo? Josh Hart is a wing at this point. You could implement a lineup with Emmanuel Quickley, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and if you bring back Obi Toppin, you do, and you can have Hartenstein at the center. That's a pretty solid bench unit, if you ask me. We need to get back to a 10-man rotation. If they want to cut it down to 9 in the regular season, postseason, they could do that. But there's absolutely a role for DiVincenzo on this team, and the Knicks are going to add to this roster. They want to use that mid-level exception contract of $12.2 million annually. They obviously want to make a trade. They have been, I would say, aggressive in talks and pursuing deals. They haven't been able to get one done, though, at this point. So maybe they shift, they run it back, they sign DiVincenzo, and they use the $4.2 million exception as well and go sign somebody else. Or maybe they trade Obi Toppin, and we get a big trade. But I do believe DiVincenzo is someone the Knicks are going to keep their eyes on. There are other mid-level targets that we'll talk about quickly. We'll do a full video on these guys in tonight's live show, so tune in then. We'll be live at about 4 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Call it 5 p.m. Other mid-level targets, though, Westbrook, Bruce Brown, Grant Williams, Christian Wood, Rui Hachimura. Hachimura is a restricted free agent, So going to be tough to pry him away from Los Angeles at that price point. Then you're looking at guys like Dylan Brooks, Karis LeVert, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, and Kelly Oubre. I'd keep my eyes on this list of players like Karis LeVert. I don't think Dylan Brooks is a player the Knicks are going to go after. We'll break down more mid-level targets later in tonight's show, but let's close the show with this right here. Name someone you want the Knicks to sign in NBA free agency. When free agency opens on Friday, who do you want them to sign? Is it DiVincenzo? Is it Karis LeVert? Is it Seth Curry? Is it somebody else out there, Torrey Craig? Or do you want them to make a big deal and go sign a big fish? Give me a name down in the comment section. As always, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you guys for rocking and rolling with us here on New York Knicks Now. Remember, we're going to be live for the NBA free agency opening on Friday, and we'll also be live Tuesday night for our weekly live show. So subscribe and turn your notifications on, and have a good one.